Hey guys, hey my people, welcome back to my channel. It's me, Simon, down here in Chicago, Ugandan living in USA. Yeah, since 2024. So today was swearing in ceremony in Uganda. Actually, here it was yesterday because right now it is 12. It's a Tuesday. Yeah, 2026. So Uganda right now is 8 hours ahead of Chicago Central Time. Yeah, USA has different time zones, so we are in Central Time. And from now up to around September, Uganda will be 8 hours ahead. And then from September up to around March, Uganda will be 9 hours ahead. So they were swearing in ceremony, yeah, for president of Uganda since 1986. He first assumed the power around January 1986. Then after they organized the election, which he won with around 95%. Same year, and he's been the president since now. So what's the real purpose of swearing in? And so swearing in has been there, and it's always be there. Part of like in day-to-day life, even us back in school, even when you are joining marriage, even like everything needs swearing in. And since like the first president of Uganda in 1962, the first president of Uganda, Sir Edward Mutesa too, was a ceremonial president. By then, the power of Uganda belonged to Dr. Milton Obote, who was the prime minister. So when Obote finally became the president in 1966, he overthrew the constitution and he came as the fountain of honor. Like he had all the power. That's how we came around to have a prime minister who became a president, and then up to now the president is still like the commander-in-chief and the head of every staff. But back then, the first president of Uganda was actually a ceremonial president. He had no powers over, a ceremonial president, like, I don't know, I think it's like the same as like Iran, where they have a president and the supreme leader, like UK, where they have a prime minister and the king. Yeah, so back then in Uganda, being under the British protectorate, the first president was the ceremonial president, who was Sir Edward Mutesa. Then after then, Sir Milton Obote, who was the prime minister, took over power after I think around, they were only like 3 years. Sir Edward Mutesa ruled for only like 3 years. So Obote took over power from 1966 to 1971. That's Obote 1. So after taking over power, he overthrew the constitution. The first constitution of Uganda was overthrown by Obote after taking over power when he was the prime minister. Then after he became a president and he took over power. So after then, Obote then was overthrown in 1971 to 1979 by Idi Amin Dada. Actually, Amin Dada ruled for a long time, but when you hear my 71 to 79, those are approximately 8 years. So after Amin Dada, most Ugandans think that after Amin Dada, it's Obote. No. Actually, Obote was still in exile. That's when we had Yusuf Kilonde Lule from April to June. This guy ruled for only 1 month, like 30 days. From April, maybe, okay, I think it was around like 2 months, but maybe 1 month and some few days, That's Yusuf Lule. Then after Yusuf Lule, yeah, is the one who took over from, like, who had the power after they fought Idi Amin Dada. Then after that, after his 2 months term, we had Josephule Lukongo Binaisa from 1979 to 1980, who ruled for 1 year. That was actually a bit nice. Then from Binaisa, we had a president called Paulo Mwanga. Paulo Mwanga actually ruled for 1 month. I think yes. Paulo Mwanga ruled for 1 month in 1980 on May. He was the president in May. Oh, sorry, I was confusing Yusuf Kilondolule and Paulo Mwanga. Actually, Kilondolule ruled for 2 months, Paulo Mwanga ruled for 1 month. However much you hear that Uganda had like 7 Okay, we shall get a total of presidents. Let me see: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We've had 9 presidents, but of which none of the 9 presidents, like one ruled for 1 month, another one ruled for 2 months. Yeah. So after Paulo Mwanga, then that's when Obote came in. So it took Obote 3 presidents to come back as the president after he was overthrown in 1971. Idi Amin came on, Yusuf Kilende Rule, Godfrey Rukongo Vinaisa, and Paulo Mwanga, and that's when Obote came back. Then after Obote coming back, he ruled for approximately 5 years, from 1980 to 1985. So after that, then they met a leader who overthrew Obote. Obote was overthrown twice, actually. He didn't lose the election over. So that's when Tito Okello Rutua. I think even the sons are actually, even this president, they are almost, their sons are still around. And so Tito Okello Rutua is the one who took over from Obote, and he ruled for 1 year, from 1985 to 1986. So from 1986, that's when President Museveni took over. He assumed the power. He took over from Tito Okello Rutua. So when most Ugandans hear about like the history of Uganda, President Museveni did not take over from Idi Amin, did not take over from Yusuf Binaisa or Bote. No, he took over from Tito Okello Rutua. That's the history of Uganda, which actually most of you don't pay attention to. So Uganda has had like 9 presidents, and today was swearing in, and it marks him like he's iconic. Ruling a country for 40 years. It's not easy. It's not easy, because some people even don't live for 40 years. So he has done it, and swearing in like we've seen in some countries where you declare yourself like, and you become a president minus swearing in. But in some countries we've seen where presidents command judges to swear them in as the presidents. So it was like a long-awaited time. It was a long-awaited time, and however much it may look like ceremonial, too expensive, but it is part of life. That's what makes the beginning of a new chapter. So that's what happened yesterday in Uganda, today in Chicago, and we are following up, and we wish all goes well. So President Museveni today was swearing in it was his 7th term, which will end in 2031. But how did the swearing in start on? Actually, the first person to take the oath was George Washington here in the United States in 1789. That was April 30th. You see here in the USA, when you are writing the year, or if they ask you like your date of birth or something, you start with the month. December 30th, January 20th, February 15th. So the first oath, which was taken in by the president, was in 1789 by George Washington in New York City. And the chancellor by then was Robert Livingston of New York. Is the one who initiated the oath of presidents, and since then we've been doing it. Most people, like the heads of state, in schools, even when you go to church, when it is time for marriage, you have to swear till death. So it has been a norm, and it's been a tradition. So that's how it came about. And I think you take a look at how Uganda has been, and you try to educate yourself on how in the history of Uganda, and before, how was Uganda, how did Uganda come about. Yes, you could be wondering like, how did Uganda come about, how has it been. Like Uganda, before it was not Uganda. Actually, there were so many kingdoms: Buganda, Bunyoro, Busoga. You people, you are seeing Busoga right now, like it's kinda, I wouldn't want to use the word, but Busoga those days was one of the biggest kingdoms actually in Africa. Up to now, I don't know what happened to the Busoga kingdom, but in history says Busoga was one of the biggest Bunyoro. So it's actually the Buganda kingdom that continued with the strength. I don't know how they managed to do it. Is it because they're in the city? I don't know. But before the British came, and declared it a British protectorate in 1890s till 1962. So they had ruled, they were there for so many years. You can do the math. From 1890s, we don't have the exact year because it was a process. Yeah, they didn't come just one day and take over. So you say in 1980s because there's no exact year when they came, but that's what, like, that's the time we became the British protectorate, and Uganda was the biggest. So, the Uganda, the country, came from Buganda as a kingdom, the name. Yeah, but since then, to be a country, and now where it is right now, like, not so much has changed in terms of leadership. We've not had so many leaders. We've just had only 9 presidents, and yeah, not so much has changed. So enjoy this time. Try to educate yourself about Uganda, where it is going, where it was, and be proud of the country. I like my country so much, and I'll be there soon. Hopefully we catch up later. It was a quick video, but some little bit of history. Hopefully you enjoy it. See you in my next video. Subscribe. Yeah, I was enjoying baseball right here.